Hey, yeah, we in the front row and it's so live.
Shout out to In the Front Row.
You'll see some of those highlights from mantras and everyone throughout their
Hey,
journey.
baby, front row the best.
Now we in the front row. Hey, hey, thank you for tuning in to the show.
Appreciate you,
Now we
live
ballin'
show in
homie,
the
you
world.
already know.
Keeping going, Jermaine
It's going
Jackson.
down, everybody so hype. High school to the pros. Now we in the front row. Now we in the front row. Yeah.
Back to the
Now
ship.
you in the front row.
How does it feel?
Feels good. You know, I ain't
Bro,
seen
when
you
it's
in a
so
while.
live, got the best view, VIP courtside.
man, I'm hurt, but I'm
It's
happy.
going down,
You know, I feel
everybody
like a
so
champ.
hype. High
Of course,
school
you
to
know.
the pros, now we in the front row. Hey, hey, thank you for tuning in to the show. Hey, hey, now we ballin', homie, you already know. Hey, it's going down, everybody so hype. High school to the pros, now we in the front row.
All right, guys, welcome here to In the Front Row with myself, Fredo Cervantes, and you're here on the special edition of the Fredo Show. Of course, I just want to let you know, I want to shout out our great sponsor in Get Lace. Of course, everybody, make sure you go to getlaces.com. Use the promo code Fredo, F-R-E-D-O, and get 25% off your full order. Go ahead and get Lace, guys. Check them out one more time, getlaces.com. Promo code Fredo, get 25% off. And here today, guys, on this very special edition of the Fredo Show, I got the one and only. At the beginning, I thought it was only 2-time. I was corrected, guys. He is an 11-time Emmy Award sports anchor here with Telemundo44 and NBC4 in Washington, D.C. I got the one and only Moises Linares. Moises, how are you, man?
What's good, bro? You know, just hanging in there, man. Pandemic, no pandemic, doing the best to get by and staying positive. 2020 is practically over, so looking ahead, looking into 2021 and thinking of all the good things we can do in 2021, learning from this one and moving on, just like the way you got to do it every single time. When something doesn't go your way, you just keep on trucking.
Right. So we all want to get rid of 2020. But one thing we don't want to get rid of is those nice, beautiful Emmy trophies you got back there right now, man. Look at that collection.
Hey, hard work, man. It's been tough. It's been a while. It's been already what? Here in DC, it's been 8 years.
8 years.
In the business, we were talking about this in the business. It's been 12 years now. I started in 2008 as a production assistant, as an editor. Actually, my first job was as a ticker reporter. So you know the little lines that come out, the information lines that come out. Well, the ticker.
Right.
When you're watching a game, I used to write that. I used to write oh, you know, so and so got injured. This game ended, you know, this was the score, and then I used to update all like the tables of like who was in first place, second place, all the stats. I used to do all that.
Oh, that's pretty hard because you got to be live at it, right? And right at the moment, watch like even the scores as well.
Yeah, man. Like it was. I mean, at first I didn't know how tough of a job it was until I made a mistake, and the news director or the sports director came at me and he goes, you know, you misspelled that name. And it was just like that Spanish accent in one of the names. You're like, this is serious business. Like, you can't be doing that. Like, I could fire you right now for that. And I'm just like, whoa, bro. Like, chill, man.
Chill,
like,
man. It's just,
like,
yeah.
But he said, he was like, hey, he's like, this is not college. This is the real world. Like, these mistakes will get you fired. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. So then that just kind of like woke me up. And I'm like, man, you're not in college anymore. This is like the real world. Those mistakes will get you fired. So I started taking it very serious, and I was just like, I'm gonna be the best ticker, like reporter ever. And I was like 24/7. When the game was going on, I was looking for all this information no matter what. So the ticker was always moving.
Oh, the tickers. Hey, that's scary though. When someone's in time, man, you can lose your job because of this. It's just like, yeah, one little thing's gonna ruin my whole career. Oh man.
Well, I mean, there's people who, there's people who take it personal. Like there's people.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
When they see a misspelling of an athlete's name, especially a big athlete, they're like, "What the heck is going on?" You know. So I'm just like, it just kind of taught me a lesson. Like, you have to be detail oriented, and even till this point, like, there's times. This is one thing people don't know about me. We all make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. There's no journalist who doesn't make a mistake on air, off air, or when you're writing something. But when I make a mistake, I get upset at myself and I go back and I look at the mistake like 20 times to make sure that if I make a mistake, it's not that same mistake.
No, that's right. That's one thing that you can learn from it. You know, everyone makes mistakes, but that's a good way to explain it. I remember one of the things that my teacher, when I went to my broadcasting school, they were like, because I went for the radio side, for the radio business and TV side, and they were like, no dead air. Like, when there's any dead silence, you better talk, Fredo. And I was like, okay. Because at one point, I remember I started quiet. I was like, oh, the song's not coming up. And I'm like trying to fix it. And they're like, no, when anything like that happens, start talking. Like, you just talk. That's it. Plain and simple. And I was like, all right. That was one of the first things that I learned in that business. That is that when any dead silence, you better start talking, Fredo.
Yeah, even when you work in TV. And I think radio gives you a little bit more flexibility because people don't see you. Like, they don't see your reaction. Right? So you have time to kind of think, like, you have 2 seconds. It seems like it's you know, a short period of time, but 2 seconds is like an eternity. You can matrix everything, right? You're like, but for me, like on TV, I learned the hard way. And it was like, if something goes wrong, and at the beginning I used to hate it because it was like the first reaction you see or you hear when somebody makes a mistake on TV, it's when you go, and like the is very long, you're like, and you're like, oh, something's happening. Like, people might be listening to you, but they're not paying attention to you. But the moment you go, people are like, what's happening? Like, even if it's very short. So there's times where I say, hey, let's roll the video. Video's not there. Something happened. Video's not got. You're like, okay. So you go like, well, you know what? I don't have a video right now, but we're gonna get back to you. We're gonna have that back in a minute or so. And then you're like, okay, cool. There's times where you have no prompter. The prompter is the one that really gets people, because if you don't know how to improvise, like you said right now, right? When you're like, you better no dead air, you better know how to improvise. So at the beginning, I had a lot of trouble with that. Like, the prompter was gone for whatever reason. Maybe it was a lesson that I had to learn, and there was no prompter. And I would be, well, you know, we're watching the game, and somebody told me, one of my mentors said, hey, come over here. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, she's a big time reporter, seasoned reporter on the Telemundo level. She's actually not on camera anymore. Now she's a boss. But she goes, hey, I know that you're having problems with the prompter. I don't know why. And I'm just like, dang, how does she know? She's like, that stuttering, that little pause you're doing, you got to get rid of it now. She's like, these are your videos. You edited the segment. This is your segment. This is the information you know. If the script is not there, you're going to improvise. Just go off. You know the material better than anybody. So then I made it a habit, dude. It was just a habit, to the point where I would do it. I would do it to myself. Like, the prompter was there, but I would leave it. Like, improvise. And that's the only way you get good at anything. Like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. And you're going to make mistakes along the way, but you're going to get better every single time. So if I see the prompter, if it stops for more than 1 second, I'm going. And there's times where the person who's doing prompter is probably distracted and they forget. So if it doesn't move, I'm abandoning it. I'm going to abandon the prompter and I'm going to go to the next story.
No, yeah, she should, because at that business, of course, you don't want to get told again, hey, you do one mistake, you're fired. You know, you don't want to go ahead and add that part there. But one of the things that I want to go ahead and, you know, touch base on, I know you mentioned it's been 12 years since you got into the business. I want to kind of take all the audience back and some of the fans, your fans, let them know a little bit more about Moises. When you were that little boy with that dream, did you have that dream as a kid that you wanted to do this, or did you have another type of dream?
No, I mean, I always tell people that I had 2 options. It was either you're going to be a professional soccer player, because I grew up playing soccer. I have a passion for soccer. Or I was going to be a play-by-play announcer. I had fallen in love with play-by-play after the 1994 World Cup. I was a little kid, and I'm, you know, walking down the streets or listening to the radio. And then by 1998, you know, when I'm in middle school, I'm full on just like a big fan of radio, like listening to these guys, you know, and they're just shooting words like really fast. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I'm trying to do that. So I would walk and I would pretend that I was a play-by-play announcer. And then I just carry that. First, it was pretty much a hobby, and I would do it on, you know, any team that I played for. When I wasn't playing, if I was on the bench or after I got out, I would like start like calling the game, and all my teammates would look at me and like, that's what you need to do. And I'm like, I don't know if that's what I want to do yet. But then by the time that I was a senior in high school, I was like, this is what I want to do. So I already had that dream, and it was like, I want to go into play-by-play. And people said, you have to go to journalism school for that. So I started getting into that, and I went into school thinking this is what I want to do. I just didn't know how difficult it was going to be to actually have an opportunity, dude. That was the most difficult part. The dream was pretty cheap.
Yeah, right. And what high school did you go to? What part of LA? Because I know you were in LA, right?
LA High. I'm a Roman.
LA High.
Baby.
What's the main city there? What is it? Is it
LA High is by Mid City?
By Mid City, so that's like in the west side of LA, right?
Yeah, Olympic and Rimpaw.
Oh, Olympic.
Between Crenshaw and La Brea.
Oh, okay.
Olympic.
Okay. So now you went to high school there. I know you went to Cal State Northridge, right?
Yeah, I went to Northridge, Matadors.
That's where you went to journalism, right?
Yeah. I mean, it initially wasn't my plan to go to CSUN.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go to USC. That was like my school. Like, I want to go to USC. I visited USC, and then like the program was awesome, but it was really expensive. Like, going to school to USC is very expensive. So shout out to all my Trojans out there who went to USC. But then I went to CSUN. I visited, and something about the program caught my attention, and I was just like, well, this is cheaper. It's a good school. They had a good reputation, so I just decided to go there, and it was a perfect fit. I felt like CSUN prepared me for everything that I've done after graduating school. Even after I was done with school, I still have a good relationship with the department, with the professors, with the upcoming students who want to get into journalism, who are trying to get a job. So we have this nice network of professionals and students who help each other out. So I'm always reviewing people's work, and I'm looking at their work, and I'm like, man, I wish I had somebody like us, our group back then, to give us feedback. So when we got out, we were ready. Mm-hmm. So that's been very productive. And I feel like that program has produced a lot of great journalists throughout the years.
Yeah, I'm actually working with I'm working with two girls who graduated CSUN, and they're now working for my other media company who I work for, which is Raghouse Media in the Inland Empire. So I know they came with a background there. So I know I got a couple of people there. So I don't know, they might know you by any chance.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to touch base, because you were talking about that, and with me myself, because I'm not sure if you heard about this school, which is the Academy of Radio and Television Broadcasting, which is out in Huntington Beach, which is one of the best, one of the best, they say out here, is one of the best broadcasting schools. So that's where I attended, and I attended there back in 2014. And I was hired right afterwards from the same academy itself. I was hired to be the counselor, a radio counselor. At the age of like 24, 25 for myself, I was then hired from the school to kind of teach back what I learned and teach it back to older folks. And at times, those older folks are still hitting me up on Instagram, email, and be like, hey, they still need help. And, like you were saying, people, you made a circle yourself of the people that, still kind of asking for feedback. So it's always kind of good to kind of, I feel like, at a young age for myself, I can't really put myself there because I'm not there at that level yet. Like, I wish I could be, in 12 years from now, I wish I can have 11 Emmy awards like you have right now in the background. And I wish I can have those in 11, 10 years, but it is going to be hard work. But what's one of the things that kind of pushed you, like back then, looking at all those years of hard work and looking at yourself now, what was it? What was that one thing that really like pushed you to the limit to where you're at now?
Getting out the hood. That's what it was. That's what it was for me. Getting out the hood, changing that perspective of how much we can accomplish in life. I think that was the biggest thing, I had in my mind, my heart, in front of me, was that throughout my entire life, I had always heard, this is how much you can accomplish. This is what you should be doing by this age. You can't do this or that because you don't have the qualifications, you don't have the look, you don't have what we're looking for. So that just it kind of pushed me. And I always said to myself, back then, it used to be like, I'm going to show you. And I always, had a little chip on my shoulder, which, that motivated me back then. I'm motivated by other things now. But back then, it was all about that. Like, I'm not going to be stuck in the hood. I'm not going to be stuck here. I'm not going to die here. Like, I'm not going to be what they think I'm going to be. So that was that, that extra that I needed. Because during the first few years, even after working for big companies in LA, you're not getting the opportunities you want. Like, you have a job, but it's not your dream job, or it's not what you want to do. Like, you have some type of stability, but LA is very expensive. So I said, I started like hitting up the mentors and I'm asking them like, what should I do? Like, what do you advise me to do? And everybody was saying the same thing. Like, dude, if you want an opportunity, you better leave LA and earn your stripes. So I said, okay. And Adrian Garcia Marquez, who's the, you know, one of the biggest play-by-play announcers, bilingual play-by-play announcer. I used to hunt him down, and I used to be like, dude, like, I need you to be my mentor. And at first he was like, I don't know, man. So I just kept bugging him until like I was right there. And, you know, he started like seeing that I was serious, and he took me under his wing, and he would always give me advice. So every opportunity we got to talk, he would tell me, let me see what you have. And he would look at my stuff, and he would tell me, you're a little rough around the edges, but I see you're hungry. So one day when, you know, I finally started getting these opportunities, because I searched for a job for 2 years and nothing. I even thought about switching careers. So eventually I get an opportunity, and I get a few opportunities on the table, and DC was among them. And I said, what do you think? And he said, like, go. He's like, don't even think about it twice. You're not married. You don't have kids. Take this chance now before it's too late. So I did it, and I just kind of left, and I just grabbed my bags and the few stuff that I had, and I drove across the country with a buddy of mine who went to college with me. So we drove across the country. I came here. You know, I'm 27 years old then. And I'm thinking like, man, I'm here by myself. Like, I don't know anybody. Like, I'm starting all over again. I'm not a kid anymore. So like, I have to make it. Like, there's no going back. Like I told myself before I left LA, I'm not going to leave. I'm not coming back to LA a failure. Like, I'm going to come back to LA like as
an Emmy Award winner that you are.
Yeah, exactly. I'm coming back, and people are going to know my name, and you're going to put some respect on my name. Right. So that's what I said to myself. So then I came here, and it was grind every day, like 6-7 days a week, like nonstop, just going after that, surrounding myself with people who knew more than me, who were going to make me better. Along the way, I met a buddy named Omar, who, you know, he's like a brother out here. And we grew up, you know, he was a producer, you know, creative mind. And, you know, I was the talent. And, you know, he kind of like helped me grow, and he's pushing me. And he's that dude who gives you tough love. Tough. Like nothing was ever good. And when it was good, it was like, good job, right? Let's go. What else you got? And what else you got? And that just pushed me. And it pushed me, and I took it. You know, I never got mad. I never got upset. I never like lashed out. I was just like, I'm going to grow. I'm going to get better. And with the years, you do get better, but you have to be consistent. You have to be hungry. You need to want it. I think people say they want it, but they don't really want it. There's a lot of talk, but there's no action behind the words. So it's not easy, man. It's not an easy career. Like, if you want to make it, you have to know you're going to be criticized. People are going to come after you. People are going to wait for you to make a mistake so they can talk about you, so they can judge you. And I've done it all. You know, when I felt, I don't know if I'm going too long. Or
no, go ahead. I'm learning, man. As you speak, I'm learning.
When I was here, people would ask me, why are you doing Spanish TV? Like, why are you working in Spanish TV? Even, I remember Beto Duran, who's a great friend now. Like Beto,
he's amazing.
He's like my homie. He's like that's like my big bro. Mm-hmm. You know, like I love that dude. Like, he's always been real. When it's wrong, it's wrong. When he doesn't agree, he tells you. And I'm just like, I need to be more like that. You know, like I need to take some of his attitude and apply it to myself, which I've done. So I remember like when we met, like coincidentally, Adrian Garcia Marquez said, hey, there's a guy you need to meet. And then we were at the same event in a different state, and we meet. And I'm like, what up, bro? Hey, what's going on? And we just became friends from that point on. That was 8 years ago. And we just started talking, and he's asking me, like, why don't you have anything in English? And the reality, dude, here's the reality. The reason why I didn't have any stuff in English was it was because I was scared. I was afraid of being criticized. I was afraid of, I had bad experiences. So that had pretty much jaded me, where I was shelling myself. And I was like, nah, they're going to judge me. And he's like, dude, you got to do it. Like, stop being afraid. And then I had another buddy, you know, Victor, who told me the same thing. Like, everybody's telling me this. So they kept telling me, you need to be on NBC. I was not working for NBC back then. Mm-hmm. But Victor used to tell me, you need to be on NBC. You need to be working for NBC. Dude, this is where you need to be. Eventually, one day somebody said something, giving me feedback, and it snapped. And that was it. And then I said, man, you did not come all this way to fail. You did not come all this way to hold your own self back. We're going to go. And I started like nonstop. I'm like, already, I conquered the Spanish world. Now we're going to go after the mainstream. And mainstream, it's a different world, man. Mainstream is it's something else. Like you need to have crocodile skin, because sometimes you hear stuff, you're like, what?
Yeah. But like about you, right? Like things that they tell you, right?
No. Just in general, like, hey, you have an accent,
Yeah.
this or that, and you're like, what?
Especially,
So
yeah. I feel that part. I mean, there's been occasions and times where I'll get stuff, and a lot of times, with myself, with everything that I do in regarding sports, of course, I have very big opinions on everything in sports, as I should, because that's one of the guys that that mentors me a lot and helps me out a lot, which is Rob Parker from Fox Sports. He's the one that told me a long time ago, and he was like, you know what? Every time you say something, and any opinions you have, you gotta be big with it. And you really believe what you're talking about, because if you don't, no one's really gonna care about anything. And I see a lot of stuff online all the time, and I get all this backlash. And there's times that people give me stuff for the way I look, the way I talk, and at times I just gotta keep my happy face on and move forward, because like you said, you got to have thick skin. You're going to get criticized everything you do. So I got in that. And one of the things that, I kind of want to ask your feedback about this, because someone told me the other day that, hey, Fredo, you might want to speak about this a little more openly because of the times that we're fighting through right now. Because about 5 years ago, I got the opportunity to interview for my dream job 5 years ago. I got an opportunity to, and I don't want to talk about the company name, because I hope I get another opportunity. But it was based off of race. The reason why I didn't get the job, it was based off of race. The general manager, the lady who spoke to me, told me kind of, she was honest with me over the phone, which kind of really put me down a lot, because it was my dream job. I didn't think that at the age of 25, 24, I would get the opportunity to interview for my dream job, and I didn't get it. And for that cost, I'm just kind of thinking, like, it was pretty tough. I could have quit, but I didn't. But for you yourself, has that happened to you before?
Yeah, it happened to me in New York City. It was a big job. And I went all out, and I thought, hey, I'm gonna move. This is a national platform, so I'm thinking, hey, this is what I want to do. And I went and I gave it all, and they said, oh man, you're too newsy. You're not what we're looking for. We want you to be funny. And I said, well, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, you want me to be the clown or something?
Yeah.
So I ended up not getting the job. They ended up hiring somebody else. I was super discouraged, and I spoke to Beto, and he told me the same thing. He goes like, hey, is that your dream job? And I said, no. So he said, move on. Even if it was, that's not the place you're supposed to be. Like, you're gonna land in the place you're supposed to be. I'm not saying that NBC4 is my dream job, Telemundo, but working for Telemundo44 and working for NBC4, it's given me like an opportunity to prove myself like nobody else was allowing me to. So getting to that point where I'm doing bilingual stories, and I said, I'm gonna show people what I got. So NBC4 opened that door for me, and I've tried to repay that opportunity with a lot of hard work. But I do it within the lines, and I stay there. And like I say, I always work with the mentality that it's only gonna make me better. So for me, it's like every report is a repetition, like a boxer. So it's like you're jabbing and you're jabbing until you're perfecting it. And I feel like that's what I'm doing now. And I've always told people, hey, my goal now, if you ask me what's your goal, my goal is to be the best bilingual reporter in the country. And there's a few guys who have the title, right? They have the WC, the WBA. So if you want to put it like in boxing terms, you have your guys who are Bernardo Osuna, who's the top dog. Then you have Adrian Garcia Marquez, who's the top play-by-play bilingual announcer. You have a few of those guys, and you're just like, it's tough, but you have to show yourself. And I feel like I've been doing that for the past 3 years. So for 3 years, I've been just jabbing, and people didn't know who I was. People weren't even aware that I existed. Just recently, people are like, who's this dude? Like, where did this guy come from? So it takes time. You have to be patient, consistent, and determined. No matter what, nothing's going to get in your way, and you're going to go after your goals.
So one thing that I really want to touch on with you right now before we go for a quick little break, you say that it's much better because us being able to speak two different types of languages and being able to have another type of demographics that we can aim for. Do you think that's a better way to kind of approach this type of business?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if that's what you want. Not everybody wants that. There's a lot of people who speak 2 languages, but they don't want to work in 2 languages. You know, it depends what your goal is. And then at the same time, just because you speak the language doesn't mean you can perform in 2 different languages. And I think that's a challenge in itself. So that's one of the things you have to look at. But if your goal is to be a bilingual reporter, then you work towards being a bilingual reporter. Like I said, like just because you speak 2 languages, it doesn't mean you can work in 2 languages.
Right. So that's one of the things that one of my other supervisors told me a couple months ago. They're like, "Hey, Fredo, you know what? You talk Spanish. Why don't you use it?" And I was like, "You know what? I speak it. I don't use it for work. I speak it to maybe speak to my parents. That's about it. That's the only people I use it with now. So it's like I don't use my language, but." In this case right now, because I'm talking to a very good bilingual reporter, when we come back in the next little segment, I really want to talk to you in Spanish and see how my Spanish kind of feels. And you grade my Spanish. You tell me, "Hey, Fredo, that's an A, that's an A minus, that's a B," or "Hey, Fredo, how about you just stop speaking Spanish and just stick to English?" All right?
I like that. Let's do it. Let's do
that.
I like that idea.
Yeah. So right now, when we come back, I'm here with the 11-time Emmy Award-winning sports anchor Moises Linares here, and as well, just want to let you guys know, go get laced, guys. Go to getlacelaces.com. Use the promo code Fredo and get 25% off today, guys. Go ahead and get laced. Go ahead and get a great apparel, man. You get some great laces. You get some hoodies. You get some t-shirts. Go ahead and check out getlacelaces.com. Use the promo code Fredo and get 25% off. When we come back, we're going to go ahead and test my Spanish a little bit and talk a little bit about sports and a little bit of what's going on in the NBA world, or should I say the NBA? Is that the way you say it?
La NBA.
La NBA. When we come back here on the Fredo Show. And we are back here in Los Angeles, Morris Media Studios. Myself, Fredo Cervantes. And I just want to go ahead and again let you guys know, go get your laces, man. You got premium shoes. Every single pair of premium shoes need premium laces, guys. These are amazing laces. Perfect for kids, perfect for ballers, perfect just for style. Especially if we're in Los Angeles. Go get your laces at getlacedlaces.com. getlacedlaces.com. Use the promo code Fredo and get 25% off today. Code expires on the 31st of December, which we're only about 4 weeks away to the new year. So go ahead and pick up your laces. It's a perfect gift for the holidays, guys. getlacedlaces.com. Promo code Fredo, 25% off. And we're back here on the Fredo Show with myself, Fredo Cervantes, and the one and only 11-time Emmy Award sports anchor, Moises Linares. And before we talk a little bit about sports, I just want to let you guys go. Black Storm Vodka, guys. Black Storm Ultra Premium Vodka, distilled and filtered 6 times from all natural ingredients for its signature smooth taste, guys. This Black Storm Ultra Premium Vodka serves up to a handcrafted small batch product, which is made out of its finest American corn, made purposely to take your celebration, evening, or simply the next sip up to a completely higher level, guys. Go ahead and visit blackstormvodka.com, which is right there written below for you guys. And go ahead and check it out. Check it out, guys. It's a brand new vodka line here that we're promoting here through the Fredo Show and in the front row and Ask Ilya. So go ahead and check it out at blackstormvodka.com. And we're back here with the one and only Moises. Moises, we talked a little bit right now that we're going to talk a little bit of Spanish. So let's go ahead and start it off. A ver cómo nos va. ¿Me entiendes, Moises? A ver cómo está, ¿ok?
Wow.
So dime ahorita, poquito aquí a hablar sobre la NBA. Estás ahorita tú en Washington, D.C., en la capital de Estados Unidos. Y queremos hablar poquito sobre your newest addition, and Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook llegó a Washington, D.C. Tú estás allá trabajando en los deportes en Washington, D.C. ¿Cómo te fue todo allá oyendo las noticias de Russell Westbrook llegando a Washington?
Muy bien, muy bien. Creo que Russell Westbrook es una super adición para el equipo de la capital. John Wall era una gran estrella, pero sabemos que pasaba mucho tiempo lesionado, no ha jugado en casi 2 años. Es mucho tiempo para un jugador del calibre de John Wall, y puede ser que tenga un regreso exitoso, pero si Washington quiere competir y quiere llegar a los playoffs este año, Bradley Beal necesita un jugador que esté listo ya. Y la respuesta es que no sabíamos que John Wall iba a jugar esta próxima campaña. Russell Westbrook tiene hambre, es un líder, es una superestrella. Desde su primer día ya ha hecho cambios, se ha hecho sentir dentro de la plantilla, que es algo muy positivo, y creo que con la adición de Russell Westbrook, los Wizards por lo menos podrían competir para llegar a los playoffs.
Ok, ¿tú crees que con la adición de Westbrook sí pueden llegar a lo mejor al segundo round? ¿O cómo crees tú?
Sí, pero no solamente Russell Westbrook, también estamos hablando de Davis Bertans, que es un buen jugador, que lo hizo muy bien la última campaña, Tony Brown Jr., creo que tienen las piezas para competir. Bryant, que es un jugador joven que mucha gente no lo conoce, pero va
Thomas Bryant, ¿no? Thomas Bryant.
Thomas Bryant, sí.
Sí lo conozco, ese nos llegó con los Lakers. Los Lakers lo agarraron a draft hace unos 3 años. Hace 3 años lo agarramos.
Pero allá en Los Ángeles era
un pequeñito, así.
Y aquí le dieron la oportunidad porque el equipo no era tan bueno. Tuvo la oportunidad de comprobarse y como que tenía eso en el hombro, ¿verdad? Ese little chip ahí, queriendo comprobar que puede jugar en la NBA y lo ha hecho muy bien. Creo que tienen para competir. No te voy a decir que van a ganar porque es difícil. En la conferencia tú sabes que el favorito va a ser los Nets de Brooklyn, después los Bucks de Milwaukee, también tienen los Raptors de Toronto. Son muchos equipos. Miami, la conferencia del Este, mucho mejor que en años previos.
Sí, sí.
El oeste sigue siendo la mejor conferencia. El oeste ha sido la mejor conferencia por 30 años.
Oh, sí, pero el único problema que yo tengo que miro en ese equipo ahí es Bradley Beal. Ya sé que Bradley Beal ha tenido como la chance de como enseñarse que sí es el jugador que muchos en el mundo creen que puede hacer. Yo mirando desde Los Ángeles, yo miro a Bradley Beal y miro como que no sé si ese jugador tiene lo que un jugador necesita para a lo mejor ganar en el futuro. ¿Tú crees que sí tiene eso, lo que yo creo que no tiene?
Pienso que sí es un buen jugador. Lo subestiman mucho. Es un gran jugador, tiene todo para ser una estrella, pero los Wizards no le ayudaban. Entonces es difícil que se siga mostrando y al final no tengas, digamos, el equipo para ganar. Eso es muy difícil porque, digamos, otras estrellas están rodeados de más estrellas. Y en la NBA parece que para ganar necesitas 2 estrellas y buenas piezas alrededor. John Wall pasaba lesionado, entonces era casi imposible. Tú viste lo que pasó con LeBron James cuando llegó el primer año a los Lakers, un equipo mediocre. Le tuvieron que conseguir otros jugadores para que lo adornaran bien y así vas a ganar. En la NBA ya no es como antes. Necesitas 2 superestrellas y 2 o 3 piezas alrededor para poder ganar.
Para tratar sí.
Damian Lillard en los Blazers de Portland, entonces como no puede ganar. No puede ganar y es un gran jugador.
¿Y qué crees que pueden ganar allá en Brooklyn? ¿Tú crees? Kevin Durant y Kyrie Irving.
¿Pueden competir?
¿Pero crees que puedan ganar en su primer año?
Sí, yo creo que sí.
¿Y por qué
si Kevin Durant está saludable, pueden ganar. Pero no sabemos si está saludable, no sabemos cómo va a jugar. Pero es un gran equipo que lo están armando para ganar, igual como armaron los Lakers. En el primer año con Anthony Davis lo están armando para que tengan éxito, para que ganen el título, pero sabemos que el equipo favorito para repetir como campeón es el equipo de los Lakers de Los Ángeles. No hay duda, si el equipo de los Lakers no gana es un fracaso.
Sí.
Redondo. Mi preocupación más grande cuando hablamos de los Lakers de Los Ángeles, y tú te vas a acordar de esto, es que al firmar a LeBron James por muchos años, como lo acaban de hacer, obvio que es bueno para la marca, pero LeBron James ya no es un joven. Entonces, ¿qué va a pasar en 2 años? ¿Estás amarrado a él? ¿Qué pasó la última vez que los Lakers estuvieron amarrados a un jugador? Obviamente que estamos hablando del GOAT, pero Kobe Bryant. Entonces, ¿qué pasó después que Kobe Bryant se retiró? Tantos años de sufrimiento porque pagaste el precio para que él se retirara con los Lakers de Los Ángeles. Ese es mi temor, no sé si va a pasar, porque Anthony Davis se queda, sigue siendo una superestrella, tendrías que rodearlo a él con otros jugadores después que se vaya LeBron James, pero sí es algo como te pone a pensar, si amarras a un equipo, a un jugador por tanto tiempo, ¿cómo se ve el futuro? Es como que estoy comprando algo para ahorita y no para a plazo largo. En el este creo que los Nets tienen esa oportunidad. Yo ya dije que veo una final entre los Nets y los Lakers.
Eso sí va a estar ahí chingón. Eso sí, eso que puedes mirar a Kevin Durant y Kyrie Irving contra LeBron James y Anthony Davis. Eso se tiene que pagar un chingo de dinero para mirar eso, porque eso va a ser lindo.
Yeah, va a ser buenísimo. Yo pienso que sí, obvio que los Bucks siguen siendo un buen equipo, pero esta campaña
Sí.
Y el Heat de Miami también un equipo muy competitivo, muy bueno. No sabemos si van a poder repetir lo que hicieron. Los Clippers de Los Ángeles en el oeste, en la final de conferencia. Yo pienso que sí.
O sea, a ver qué pasa con ellos. Y también hablando de la NBA con la draft que pasó hace unas semanas, ya sé que hay un equipo allá en tu esquina que es los Charlotte Hornets. Los Charlotte Hornets se llevaron al muchacho que es, no sé si tú lo sabes,
LaMelo
Ball. Sí. Tú que miras en el juego de LaMelo Ball, que tú a lo mejor no sé cómo piensas, si piensas que va a ser un jugador muy bueno, si va a ser un jugador como su hermano, o qué tipo de jugador tú crees que va a ser LaMelo Ball para los Hornets.
Bueno, los Hornets necesitaban una superestrella. Creo que lo encontraron en LaMelo Ball, pero LaMelo viene con un paquete, el papá, la familia. Entonces eso es como la carga o el peso que trae LaMelo Ball. He escuchado cosas positivas de él como persona cuando no está alrededor de su familia, cuando no lo están siguiendo las cámaras. Lo he visto jugar en algunos partidos, no mucho. Tiene mucho talento, es muy habilidoso. Creo que tiene esa magia que no tiene su hermano. Entonces, eso podría ser muy positivo para los Hornets de Charlotte, pero creo que también necesita tiempo para ajustarse a la liga, para crecer en el cuerpo, que creo que todavía no tiene un cuerpo de NBA, pero seguramente lo van a empezar a trabajar para que llegue, para que gane masa muscular y sea una superestrella. Los Hornets, no sé si están listos para llegar a los playoffs, tal vez para competir por un lugar, pero será una buena edición y con tiempo, creo que en unos 2-3 años podríamos ver un equipo más competitivo por parte de los Hornets.
Sí.
Y LaMelo sí, yo no pienso que no va a ser estrella para responderte la pregunta. Yo pienso que sí. Yo pienso que sí va a ser una superestrella. Yo pienso que de los hermanos es el mejor.
Sí, claro que él es el mejor. Y yo tengo una relación muy buena con él y su manager, porque yo tuve la chance de cubrirlos a los dos juntos cuando estaban acá en Los Ángeles hace el año, y yo me he estado en contacto con ellos y tuve la chance de hablar con él el día que lo agarraron con los Hornets. Y nomás, sí, yo siempre he querido la familia, la Ball family, con la Ball y todos ellos. Han sido muy buenos conmigo todo el rato que yo los he estado conociendo y cubriendo a ellos. Y yo creo que yo miré muchos juegos de LaMelo en persona aquí en Los Ángeles, cuando no sé si sabes la liga Julie, acá que se juega acá en el sur de Los Ángeles. Y tuve muchas chances de mirarlo allí jugando en persona, y yo miré que este muchacho sí voy a estar el top 3 pick. Yo sabía desde que lo miré. Yo dije, mira, este sí va a ser más bueno que los otros dos hermanos. Y una cosa que sí tiene él es que él puede pasar la pelota y puede poner la pelota en el hoop. Eso es lo más importante. Yo creo que sí tiene una oportunidad de ser muy grande en esta liga, también con Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan es su patrón ahora. Mira, tiene un patrón muy bueno que su papá también como que le gusta o no le gusta al momento. Pero sí, no, ellos están muy felices que van a jugar muy bueno allá. Ojalá todo vaya bien para la familia de LaMelo y Lonzo y todos ellos. Pero hablando de poquito nada de fútbol, ahí con Washington, no sé cómo les puedo llamar, el Washington Football Team.
Yeah, Washington Football Team.
¿Y qué pasó con todo eso? ¿Tú qué crees con el nombre del equipo? ¿Por qué todo está así ahorita?
Creo que estamos en una época en el mundo una era donde ya la gente es más consciente de las cosas que se dicen, los nombres que hemos puesto, nombres que en el pasado tal vez no considerábamos que discriminaban, y ahora los examinamos y decimos, hay personas que se sienten discriminadas por este nombre, entonces lo correcto era cambiarlo, pero eso no sucedió ahorita, eso ya llevaba muchos años que la gente estaba pidiendo, hay que cambiarle el nombre. hay gente que se siente discriminada por esto. Entonces creo que fue la mejor decisión porque ya había una división entre los aficionados, entre gente que no estaba involucrada con el equipo, pero que estaba observando, y creo que al cambiar el nombre te ganas más fanáticos. No pierdes nada. Claro que el nombre tiene mucha historia, que ganaste títulos con el nombre, pero al final el nombre no juega. La afición sigue ahí. Con tal que tú ganes, la gente va a estar contigo. Yo creo que a la gente se le olvida eso. Si tú ganas, el remedio para todo es ganar. Si tú pierdes, no importa cómo te llames. Te van a juzgar, te van a criticar, pero cuando tú ganas, tú te puedes llamar como sea. Ahorita el equipo está más o menos. Este equipo va en ascenso. Es un equipo muy joven. Creo que es uno de los equipos más jóvenes en la NFL. Entonces, eso es algo muy, muy positivo. Los jugadores que tienen varias selecciones de primera ronda en la línea defensiva. En el fútbol americano tú ganas con defensa. Y la defensa de Washington se ve sólida. Tal vez este año puedan competir. Récord de 5 victorias, 7 derrotas. Pero el fuerte de ellos va a ser defensa en el futuro.
Ok, so vamos a mirar a ver qué pasa con el equipo ahí, con el Washington Football Team. Y antes que me mueva con el béisbol, pero miré el otro día que tenías ahí un video en tu Instagram ahí sobre cuando tú andabas cubriendo, se me hace que eran los Washington Nationals, y cómo tienen la comida ahí, la tenían como pupusas y todo tenían ahí de comer, como en los estadios allá en ese lado. ¿Allá es como está así? ¿O cómo es todo eso allá que trabaja?
Sí, porque aquí en Washington hay mucha gente de El Salvador. La población más grande aquí es el salvadoreño.
No.
Entonces toda la comida es como, la gente me pregunta siempre, hay más salvadoreños en Los Ángeles, pero hay más mexicanos. Entonces los salvadoreños se ven como un grupo con menos población. Pero cuando tú vienes aquí a Washington, Virginia y Maryland, los tres, tú ves que todo es El Salvador. Hay mucha gente de Centroamérica, de Honduras, de Guatemala, hay gente de México, hay gente de Puerto Rico, hay muchos países, mucha gente de Bolivia y de Perú aquí. Entonces, tú ves que hay mucha diversidad, pero el número y la nacionalidad que más sobresale es la salvadoreña. Entonces, los estadios, algunos han incluido pupusas, como el Audi Field, donde juega el DC United, ahí venden pupusas. Después el Parque de los Nacionales, Nationals Park, ahí venden pupusas. FedEx Field, ahí venden pupusas.
Venden de todo allá.
Sí.
Sí, andaba mirando esa parte allí. Pero no, yo solo porque imagínate, hace que tú a lo mejor has agarrado muchas pupusas en toda tu vida, pero yo el otro día andaba hablando con un amigo que es de El Salvador, y yo porque soy mexicano, y él me dijo la otra vez, hey, ¿quieres una pupusa? Le dije, sí, pues no, nunca he agarrado una, y me miró con una cara como que me quería dar una cachetada, y me dijo, ¿cómo que nunca has acertado una pupusa? Le dije, pues no, pues nunca se ha traído una pupusa en mi plato. Yo siempre como de todo, pero la pupusa nunca se ha llegado en mi plato. Y me dijo, mira, Alfredo, te voy a llevar a agarrar pupusas tan bonitas, no sé, no sé en qué área era allá en San Fernando Valley. Y me dijo, allá tienen pupusas muy grandes. ¿Qué es lo que yo me ando perdiendo? Dime, Moises, ¿qué ando perdiendo yo de no tratando una pupusa ahorita?
Lo más delicioso, hermano. Si te gustan los tacos, a mí me encanta la comida mexicana, entonces mis amigos mexicanos que me dicen, no, nunca he comido pupusas, yo tal vez te hubiera visto de igual manera, como que en serio, hermano, la segunda población más grande de latinos en Los Ángeles son salvadoreños. ¿Cómo nunca has probado una pupusa? ¿Estás discriminando el país de mis padres? ¿Cómo está la cosa? Mucha gente no la ha probado. Tal vez las has escuchado, las ha visto, pero cuando las prueba dicen, oh, ok, está rica, es algo, comida rica. Hasta Leonardo DiCaprio come pupusas, papá.
Ay, no, tengo que tratarlo. No, mira, yo me voy a tomar una foto y un video y te lo voy a mandar. Cuando me trate esa pupusa que sí me dicen que, tienen con carne, con queso y de todo. Y pues a ver, dije, a mí me gustan las gorditas, me gustan los tacos, los burritos y todo eso, pero ojalá tengo que tratar una pupusa. Pero tú dime, ¿cuál pupusa tengo que tratar? ¿De cuál? ¿Qué tipo?
Una de queso.
Ajá.
Una de queso y una revuelta.
Una de queso y una de revuelta. Ok, eso es lo que voy a pedir. Te voy a decir, Moises, ya lo traté.
Una de queso y una revuelta para comenzar.
Sí, para comenzar. Luego después, ¿qué se le pone? ¿Qué toppings tú le pones ahí? Si hay cosas que le ponen, ¿no?
No, y la pupusa ya viene formada, ya viene hecha dentro y lo que tú le pones arriba es curtido,
Ok.
que es como es cabbage mix y una salsa de tomate que hacen en especial para las pupusas.
Ok. Eso es algo que yo voy a tratar ahorita que es el Christmas time acá en Los Ángeles. Está como frío, poquito, pero sí va a ser un tiempo para que yo, Alfredo, agarre una pupusa y tratarla a ver cómo me sabe.
That would be a good segment.
Yeah, there it is, right? Oh, man. Pero ahorita, nomás una de las últimas cosas que te quiero hablar sobre ti es el tiempo que tú has cubrido los Washington Nationals. A mí, siendo un fan de los Dodgers acá en Los Ángeles, yo me acuerdo qué pasó en el 2018. Era 2019, ¿no? El 19, ¿no? Que ganaron ustedes y ustedes nos ganaron a nosotros en 5 juegos en el primer round. Y...
Espérate, hay que aclarar, porque la gente después me dice a mí, yo no gané, yo soy fanático de los Dodgers. So.
Ok, eso es lo que te voy a preguntar,
Yo cubro los Nationals, and I have a lot of love for them, but you know, I'm not a Nationals fan.
So you're a diehard Dodger fan from LA that just works and covers the Nationals.
I've been going to Dodger games since I was like high school. Before that, like nobody would take me, but when I got to high school, I started going to games at Dodger Stadium. 100% Dodgers fan, and I suffered with the fan base. Like I was telling somebody recently, like, if you're a Dodgers fan and if you're under the age of 40, you don't know what winning was like. You've never won. Never. Like all we've seen is this team lose, so its best assets throughout the years. You know, like disappointment after disappointment. I think the first time that I actually had fun at a Dodger game was when we had Manny Wood at Dodger Stadium.
Wow. Oh.
And it was a little fun because you're like, oh man, this team is pretty competitive. But then the Phillies came and knocked you out a couple times. You know,
twice.
Kershaw was coming up.
Yeah.
Kershaw was coming up, but he had no help. And then I get here, and every time the Dodgers would come to town, I would go watch the games. And I'm just, I'm as a fan, and I'm watching the Dodgers, rooting for the Dodgers. And there's a lot of people from LA out here, so we would go together as a group, or we would watch like whatever LA team was playing. And it sucked because I remember when that series happened, I thought the Dodgers had it in the bag, and I'm covering, the series, and I'm thinking like it's over. And then that collapse happens, and I'm just like, all I said was like, yo, that sucks. So here, I said, I'm going to jump on the Nationals bandwagon because I'm covering the team. I have to root for them. Like,
right.
I mean, after that happened and they won, I was 100% on board with the Nationals, and I gave it 200% of the coverage, and I gave it my all, but it sucked. As a fan, here's the thing. If it wasn't for the Dodgers losing, I would have never had the opportunity to be in a World Series, to cover a team in a World Series. So for me, it was a big gain career-wise, but as a fan, it sucked. So when the Dodgers won like this year, I was rooting for them regardless of what happened. And I've seen people put, oh, there's an asterisk. I'm like, dude, they played the playoffs. They were the best team in the regular season. Like, there was no questions about like whether the season was long or short. That was not a decision the Dodgers made. That was a decision Major League Baseball made. So to try to knock on the Dodgers, and we could even debate the fact that both chips against the Red Sox and against the Astros are debatable, and there was probably cheating going on, right? So there's that. Yeah. So if anybody has an asterisk in the title, it's those two teams, not the Dodgers.
Yeah,
the Dodgers could be 3-time World Series champions right now.
No, man, don't even say that. Take that back, because man, we could have been 3-time champions, but as of right now,
I mean, they should vacate those titles.
They should have. I mean, especially the Houston one. That's the one I have the most problem with. 2017 should have been taken away from them. 2018, Boston. I mean, yeah, they really didn't find them really cheating in a way, which they say they did. But 2018, it's all right. It was Alex Cora. He's a former Dodger. A little love to him out there. But 2017 was awful. But I guess it felt better that the Washington Nationals beat the Houston Astros in 7 games. Like, were you at Game 7? You were, right?
I was at every single game. They didn't beat them. They humiliated them.
Right.
Because they beat them at their own game. Like there was rumors. I remember like a colleague of mine saying there's something strange going on. Like they're talking. It's like if they know something, nobody that the whole cheating scandal was not even out.
Wasn't even out yet, right?
And she mentioned it, and we're like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. And then the players said that they had, there was phone calls made. Hey, something strange is going on with the Astros. Be careful. If other players are telling you this, hello, man, hello.
Yeah.
And not only that, you lost 4 games at home. That was the most rewarding thing for the Nationals. I've gotten into debates and arguments with Astros fans, and it always ends up being, oh, well, they're not the only team cheating. They were not the only team cheating. Like, really, dude? Like, that's your excuse? Like, as a fan, take the L. Sit down, go back home and, hide your championship banner and just feel lucky you still have it. Because any team that cheats. Now, here's the thing. You cannot say, if you think that's fine, that's okay, but then you're condemning people who use steroids. Steroids, it's an individual. You're a cheater, but you're doing it individually. Robinson Cano just got caught cheating, but that's him. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the team. That's him. This was systematic. This was the entire team cheating. That's crazy. There's no way of justifying that from top to bottom. You all knew you were cheating, whether you participated or not, and you were okay with it because you were winning.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I guess right now all I can say is thank God they did not win that second one, because they could have maybe used that second one as say, hey, we weren't cheating. That's just you guys talking about it. But just, it was a great. I did see some of your coverage there when you were covering them. That's why I saw you, getting all the interviews, covering the World Series. And, for you, congratulations, man. Like you said, you were a Dodger fan, but, when you work for another team or you work for another city, you got to show that city love. And same thing I would do here too. If I was in your shoes, I'll be a fan of the Nationals too, as long as you're winning and working there and they're paying me. But Moises, I know I've been taking a lot of your time right now, and I want to let you go to sleep, because right now it's already going to be Friday in the East Coast out there. But one of the last things, Moises, I just kind of want to let you know is just, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to come on here on the Fredo Show on In the Front Row with me and talking to me about sports, talking to me about life, talking to me about how you were able to make it out of the hood and now become an 11-time Emmy Award-winning, sports anchor, that's something that a lot of us, had dreams about. And like I said, man, I wish in 10, 11 years from now, I can have one Emmy, and if you can give me advice and what I can do, make sure I win Emmy in a few years. What was that one thing that just helped you win it?
Visualize it. I've said that for a long time. I've always told people that you have to visualize it. You just can't say it. You have to see it. You have to believe it. You have to go after it. I do a lot of, speaking to people. It's like you evolve. The things that I wanted back then have changed, from the things that I want now. For me, about now, it's all about becoming a better man, becoming an inspiration, helping other people get to their goals, seeing how I can, make an impact in my community here in DC, Arlington, and Maryland, and also back home in LA, and showing people that, we can do it. Like, you don't have to be an athlete to make your dreams come true, because sometimes we feel like, hey, the only way you're going to make it if you have like superpowers and you're super gifted. Hard work is always going to win. You just got to work hard. But if you want something, you have to see it, and then you have to be willing to take those hits, along the way. Just keep going and getting up, and keep going and getting up. But in your mind's gonna help you. And I've seen that. Like, I'm actually reading a book. It's called Cybernetics. What is it called? Where's my book at? I'll send you the name after. I'm really Psycho-Cybernetics.
Psycho-Cybernetics, okay.
Psycho-Cybernetics. And everything that I've done in the past, like, it's in this book, and I'm just like, man, I've done that, but I never knew that's what I was doing. And one of those things is like putting that mental picture of what you see. What do you see? And I always saw that. I always saw myself on TV.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that pushed me. because you're going, and you won't stop until it becomes a reality, because your mind is telling you this is what you're programming, right? You're programming yourself on TV. You're visualizing. But a lot of people, what they see is like defeat. They give up before they even start. They're like, no, I can't do it because it's too hard. It's too complicated. There's always an excuse.
Right.
So if you've already set yourself up for failure. So that's the difference between you making it and you staying in the same place you've been, and you being that person who 10 years from now is going to say, well, I wanted to do it, but this got on the way. If you're alive, if you're still breathing, if you have that dream, you need to go after it. Try as many times as possible. And if it doesn't work out, at least you can say, hey, man, I gave it my all. It wasn't for me. A lot of people do that.
Right. Well, man, I thank you for that advice. And, you know, for somebody that's already there and making it there, and I know you have a lot more to show and to prove to the whole world. And, you know, another thing, it was just a special moment that I got to see when you surprised your mom with that Emmy. And I know you were trying to kind of do a little like joke on her and stuff. And just seeing how excited and proud your mom was of you yourself and all the hard work. And I know she sacrificed a lot for you as well as a kid, you know, help you get through school. Like that was a moment that I was watching, and it touched me. And I was like, damn, I was like, you know what? That moment right there of, you know, looking to your mom and look at all the hard work that you did yourself. I'm pretty sure your mom is, you know, she feels like you are like the king, right?
Oh man, it's she inspires me every single day. Like there's nothing that she doesn't say that motivates me. And I always say, like, I have to do it for her, you know, like I really like dig deep into the past. And I think about all the stuff they had to go through in order to get to this country, just so I could have an opportunity. I wasn't even born, you know, but she was already thinking ahead. Like I'm telling you, she was visualizing, if I have kids one day, like I don't want them to go through the stuff that I went through. Like I want them to have a better life. And she did that. And, you know, she traveled 3 countries to get here and cross the border illegally and all these things, just to get away from a war and to dream bigger. And her dream wasn't as big as mine. You know, she was like, I want to get there and I want to have a better life. And that was about it. So now I push her and I'm like, Mom, you need to like go. And she's going after her dreams. You know, she's a hard worker, which shows you're never old enough. There's no such thing as I'm already too old, I can't make it happen. All you need is the will to do it, and you're gonna and to put in the work, and you'll get to that point. So for me, it's like all the victories that I've obtained this far in my career, I share them with her, because I remember that when I didn't have anything, you know, when I had no shoes, when I had no clothes, she was always finding a way to get me stuff, right? My first pair of sneakers, my first like expensive sneakers, my first cell phone, like she was sacrificing what she didn't have just for me to have an opportunity. So that always means a lot. And I think like when you do that, when we become the sons, the daughters who appreciate our parents, we get blessed in so many other ways that we don't even realize. So for me, it's like the Bible says, honor thy mother and thy father. So I live by that, right? So if one day something happens to her, God forbid, I want to be able to say, I did everything that I could. I tried to be the best son that I could be. You know, I treated my mom like a queen. And I know that at least if one day she's no longer with me, I gave her as much as I could. And I mean, that's something that I've had in my heart for a lot of years now. And I try to show the world that I'm proud of her and I'm proud of where I come from. Like, I don't have to be ashamed that, you know, I come from the bottom of the bottom, or I lived in the hood most of my life or anything like that. Like, I feel proud, and I feel like it empowers other people to do the same.
No, yeah, and you know, you're empowering me. You're helping me just visualize more and just seeing the bigger picture at the end, and just knowing that, you know, right now myself at the age of 29, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, just kind of seeing a little bit more light at the end of the tunnel, just kind of seeing people getting a chance to talk to others, and you know, having people in the business and just kind of helping you out. And you know, like when you mentioned Beto, I got a chance to, you know, get a chance to know Beto and talk to him back and forth. He reviews some of my articles at times. He'll give me some feedback. He's honest with me too, like you said. You know, you need people to be honest with you about some of your work at times, because when people are just like positive about it and just, you know, not being truthful to you, it doesn't really help you out.
Yeah,
so
you don't grow.
Yeah, right. So, you always love that hard feedback, which is the best feedback at always all the time. But this story right here, Moise, is very inspirational. Very, it's gonna inspire a lot of people. Whether it's just not myself, maybe others gonna be watching this interview. You're gonna inspire them, and you yourself, Moises. I'm gonna look back to this interview maybe 5-10 years from now, and I'm gonna be like, man, I remember when Moises told me this one thing, and I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna use it. And I hope I can just show you and that you did help me in so many different ways, because just hearing your story helps out a lot, just seeing an individual who maybe did not have everything to start off, but now you've made your way through. Years later, you've been able to make it to the top. You're out there in Washington D.C. right now, man. NBC4, Telemundo, and everything, man. Let's see what else comes up with Moises. Last thing, man, Moises, what's coming up with you, man? What do you want to let your fans and the people know out there about you? What's coming up next?
Man, right now I'm staying busy, adapting to this new reality, which is working on the digital end of things, doing all my interviews like this, speaking to athletes, doing a lot of this stuff, trying to be more creative, trying to tell stories, actually expanding and onto other things, evolving as a man, as a journalist, getting ready for the Tokyo Olympics. So
I know you're going, right?
As soon as the NFL season is done, I'll switch that chip and I'll start prepping for that. I'll start going full steam, which is studying, prepping, and learning about all these sports that we usually don't cover, but just to be ready. There's a lot of preparation that goes into that, which means there's a lot of hours. And here's the thing. I've seen this a lot, and it's starting to, it doesn't bother me, but I see it from a lot of the kids that are coming out of school. You're so focused on trying to let the world know what you're doing. You want the people to know that you're studying, that you're putting in the work, that you're writing, that you're reading, and you're posting all that. Nobody cares, because that's something you should keep to yourself. When it's done, when you have the results, post it, and people are going to be shocked. So when you do that, you kind of expose yourself and you leave yourself open to being criticized, to being judged. Like, work in silence, work in the shadows, go hard. Don't let anything derail you, distract you, or stop you, right? So I always say, like, just go. Like, the stuff that I do, I don't post it. Like, the real stuff that I do, it's not there. Like, you see a glimpse of the things that I do in my life. Right. Nobody knows what I'm doing. Once this interview is over, what am I going to go do? What are you doing in your free time? That's where you really become the person you want to become. When nobody's watching you, what work are you putting in? That's the questions you have to ask yourself. So for me, it's all about studying, reading. Sometimes I'm talking to myself. Sometimes I'm doing, even at this level, I'm doing stand-ups. I'm improvising alone. I'm staring at the mirror, going back to basics. If somebody asks me this, what is your answer going to be? If I'm in this situation in a play-by-play game, how are you going to get out of it? So all of those little details, all of those things, all of those nuggets, all of that is done when nobody's watching. So my biggest advice for anybody, unsolicited advice, would be focus on you. Don't focus on what social media thinks about you. You don't have to post it. If you really want to grow, do it on your own. And when you have the results, you go, bang, here you go.
There you go. Here's my receipt.
Exactly.
Wow. All right, Moises. Well, Moises Linares, 11-time Emmy Award winner, sports anchor, Telemundo44, NBC4. Moises again. Oh, no. Okay. Hey, you know what? That's deserving right there. I was about to ask you. That's my grade. You know what, Moises? I do get a C+. I do get a C+. Let me know.
Bro,
where can I improve my Spanish report?
There's a C+, but there's a lot of room. What I see and what I hear is there's a lot of room to grow and to actually, just let loose. I see that. Like, you're there. Like, you don't have the struggles other people have. For you, it's more of just doing it.
Right.
Just keep doing it. Just keep working at it, because trust me, I was the same.
Right.
So didn't you see listen to the post, my post from today? That's throwback. Listen to the voice. Look how it sounds.
Oh yeah, I did. It was catching, because sometimes when you just see when I see people post up things from years ago and then now seeing their improvement, I kind of put both of them together. And it's kind of like, wow, you can see where he was at, and then now you can see the work and where he ended up being at. I did see that, but man, I'll take that grade. I'll take it. That's a passing grade. For a lot of people, that's a passing grade. For some others, it's like, what the hell?
That's a passing grade.
That's a passing grade. Hey, well, I got a passing grade for the 11th-time Emmy Award winner sports anchor, Moises Linares. Gracias por venir here on the Fredo Show, man. It was a pleasure to have you here. And I hope to stay in touch, man, this network together. And I hope, later on down the line, we can meet each other and then see what we can possibly do in the future, man.
For sure, bro.
All right, Moises, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you again for being here on the Fredo Show, man.
I'll catch you later, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, we in the front row and it's so live. Got the best view, VIP courtside. Hey, it's going down, everybody so hype. High school to the pros, now we in the front row. Hey, hey, thank you for tuning in to the show. Hey, hey, now we ballin', homie, you already know. Hey, it's going down, everybody so hype. High school to the pros, now we in the front row. Hey, now we in the front row. Yeah.